What's going on, Baffle Gang? This will definitely make your dogs want to go out, but remember folks, don't let your dogs out. There are aliens going around, there are UFOs going around, and right now there's a push happening for transparency. There's a push happening for disclosure as well, which I'm all up for, and I'm pretty sure if you're a fan of the channel or fan of the topic, first of all, if you're new, welcome on in. It's a pleasure to have you. We upload every single day, but there is a push happening that is making President Trump and President Biden to talk about it. Listen, this is not a political video. This is simply about the topic, and apparently this topic is getting in the realm of politics as well. Is it gonna end well? I'm not sure, but listen, okay? We got the Orange Man talking about it. We got Sleepy Joe talking about it. Let's actually get into it. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe if you're brand new. Roll it.
The war in Gaza, the border, all sure to be covered extensively in the upcoming presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. That leaves plenty of room for other, as of yet, unidentified subjects. Because there is now a push to get the subject of UFOs into the presidential debate. In fact, the hashtag disclosure debate is trending online as not only an effort to have President Biden and Trump address the subject, but to declare their willingness to declassify files related to UFOs and UAPs. That's unidentified aerial phenomena. And the subject may have more credibility than ever before, thanks to a group of scientists, academics, and researchers from, wait for it,
Harvard?
Harvard, yes.
They
have collectively suggested that not only may aliens exist, but that extraterrestrial beings could be living underground on Earth, on the moon, or even walking around among humans.
This is insane, right? And this story, wait for it, we got a lot more, and I gotta also like show you guys this clip. Shout out to NewsNation, first of all. They have been covering this stuff very extensively as well, but recently a new story came out, new study from Harvard came out, and they say that some of the LMOs, the aliens, could be walking among us as well. Which I think there have been a lot of conspiracies about it for a while. The tall grays, the little men, and also I believe the lizard people as well. The lizard, there's a conspiracy. There are a whole lot of conspiracies that Mark Zuckerberg, even Obama, the President Obama, right? People claim to have seen like the lizard and stuff. I don't want to get too much into it because YouTube always is ready to like put their flag on the video, right? Maybe they already have just because I mentioned this, but now there are real conspiracies. Some people view them as entertainment, other people view them for real, but a lot of people also do believe that they're walking among us. A lot of people also believe that, hey, we're alone in the universe. Whatever you believe in, but this is insane. We're living in very strange times. The fact that no one is getting ridiculed, that's good, but you gotta understand that like back in the 50s, everybody was getting ridiculed for talking about this, and now they're saying that they're walking among us. Crazy.
Many of you are thinking right now about certain people in your life. You're like, yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. Coining the term crypto-terrestrial to explain a secret UFO civilization, the scientists at Harvard have 4 theories on how those beings came to be walking among us. Number 1, they came from a different planet at some point, and they've concealed themselves ever since. 2, they're a form of intelligent species that have evolved separately from humans. 3, they're part of an ancient civilization on Earth, which mostly got wiped out at some point, possibly by a natural disaster. Or 4, there's something supernatural, like fairies and elves. Now, at one point in time, you could maybe say this seems so fantastical, but does the fact that this is all coming from Harvard researchers lend it any more credibility to the point where
I guess the haters would say they were bored, but not like if the haters would say that they do have a point in a way, maybe they were bored, that they came up with. What do you think? I want to know what you think.
This will actually be covered in the presidential debates, and if so, what would Joe Biden and Donald Trump say? Just 4 months ago, or 4 months into his term, I should say, President Biden couldn't have been more dismissive when the subject came up.
President Obama says that there is footage and records of objects in the skies, these unidentified aerial phenomenon, and he says we don't know exactly what they are. What do you think that it is?
I would ask him again. Thank you.
You what the hell? I would ask him again. And if I'm not mistaken, Obama really was ambiguous when he was asked that question. He was asked multiple times on multiple occasions, but the one memory that I have is that he said some like, okay, he don't want to disclose that information. I believe George W. Bush also said the same thing as well, like he don't want to disclose it, right? So the signs that they gave from that is that they know something and that they're real, and they simply just don't want to talk about it, which is insane. And Trump also low-key hinted at the fact that they exist. And of course, I'm not sure if you heard about this or not, but there was an Israeli space chief, right, that came out, I believe 2-3 years ago at this point, said that the Galactic Federation is real. Trump knows about it, the aliens, and at one point he was gonna reveal the truth, but the aliens stopped him. Sounds very insane, sounds very fantastical, but you gotta understand that it's coming from one of the top chief of security, or basically someone that's linked with the space program in Israel, right? So came from, I would like to believe, somebody that has been very responsible in his life. I would like to believe that, right? That's why he was the top chief of space program in Israel, right? Yeah, I mean, crazy, right? So he came out, talks about it, that Galactic Federation is real. Totally insane, totally insane. Let's see what the orange man gotta say, because Sleepy Joe says that, well, go to Obama about this question.
Donald Trump, on the other hand, had a much more measured response just a few days ago when he was a guest on wrestler-influencer Logan Paul's podcast.
I've met with pilots like beautiful Tom Cruise, but taller, okay? Yeah. Handsome, perfect people. Sir, there was
Tom Cruise, but taller, okay.
Something there that was round in form and going like 4 times faster than my super jet fighter plane. And I look at these guys, and they really mean it. Yeah. And am I a believer? No, I can't say I am. But I have met with people that are serious people that say there's some really strange things that they see flying around out there.
And maybe he really saw a threat coming from the aliens that are like, hey, don't talk about us, Trump, orange man, don't talk about us, okay? Don't talk about us, don't talk about us. And he's like, okay, I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm gonna just say other people believe it. I don't believe it, but other people believe it. And I kind of believe it, but that's not me saying it. Okay, makes sense.
Remember, that was coming from people that look like Tom Cruise, only taller, so there's some credibility there. Now, keep in mind that this question was posed to Donald Trump by Logan Paul. He zip-lined into WrestleMania before a match in which he launched...
We are living in strange times, indeed. Wait for the next clip. I gotta show you. This should be very entertaining as well.
Launched himself off the top rope. Now, I'm not knocking him, but would esteemed journalists like Jake Tapper or Dana Bash, who are moderating the first presidential debate, will they ask these kinds of questions? Remains to be seen. Will the candidates have to tackle this issue when the lights are the brightest and the world is watching? Maybe even other worlds? Well, joining us now is UFO Seeker's lead investigator.
I think they should make it mandatory for the presidents to disclose this information about the UFOs, right? They don't have to, because they always say, right, like, we don't want to disclose that. There's always this thing in the mix that, hey, they don't want to disclose the UFO stuff, the alien stuff, because once they do it, then they have to talk about the technology they possess, and it's to do with the anti-gravity and all that. And if they disclose that, then the enemies, you know, the foreign countries like China, Russia, they will be on top of it, and then it's US don't want it. Surely China don't want it. If they have that technology themselves, they don't want to share it, right? They don't want their enemies to have an upper hand. Okay, it makes sense, right? Makes sense. But like, can a brother perhaps just get to know whether they exist or not? I mean, I'm a believer, but like, you know, officially, can a brother perhaps get to see them? Can a brother perhaps get to pet an alien like a good old chihuahua? Like, did your good boy, did your good boy? I want like a pet chihuahua, like a pet. No, I want a pet alien, bro, like a good chihuahua, man. Like, come on.
Tim Doyle, Tim, thanks so much for coming on. So, out of, you know, they're going to be talking about a lot of different issues. You think UFOs, extraterrestrials is going to be a question that's asked?
I definitely think that UFOs and UAP will be a question asked. I don't know specifically alien. Unfortunately, there isn't any scientific evidence of aliens having visited Earth, although that's what I spend my life and passion searching for, because there are so many people who believe they have seen something in the sky or encountered aliens. I've met a woman who swore she gave birth to an alien baby. So I think because of there's two separate issues going on, the UAP and the alien question. Right. Of course, there's...
Man, right now the alien's getting more action than all of you guys and me combined. It is crazy, man. It is embarrassing for us, bro. What is happening with the human species right now? We humans, we need to up it a notch, man. No, don't up it a notch. The population is already too crazy, man. We don't want to get to 9 trillion tomorrow or anything like that, bro.
So much out there in the universe, aliens exist somewhere. But as far as aliens visiting Earth, it's a separate question. Of course, the UAP is a real issue and something is infiltrating American airspace. I myself have captured a spherical ball flying in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California. I've seen a balloon delivery system over California. So UAP is an important issue, and also destigmatizing it.
And I agree, and I think it's a serious issue that can't be ignored at this point anymore like it was in the past. My question to you would be, what would you hope our next president would say about UAPs or UFOs?
That they are real?
I would hope that the next president would tell us which country is infiltrating American airspace and what they're doing about it. Of course, the Chinese spy balloon was a perfect example of human-made origins for these kind of objects. Of course, a balloon was shot down in the 1940s because the mainstream media was working with the Office of Censorship in the federal government to cover up the balloon bombs that were coming from Japan during World War II, which caused the only deaths on the American continent during the World War. So it's things like that, I think, that the president really needs to step up and let us know if it's our own technology, which I don't agree with because we'd just be running a propaganda operation on ourselves. But I really think that it's some type of foreign entity that's been infiltrating our airspace with advanced technology. I mean, hey, even I run a drone photography business on the side, and I'm using Chinese-made drones, which I could never get away with using American-made technology.
Look, it's 2024. I think questions about AI and UAPs and UFOs are significant, and there's a strong likelihood that those questions will need to be asked. If it's not asked at this debate, it's going to be asked in the near future.
Thank you for watching. Absolutely. Wait for this one. So this is the second clip. Ross, cold heart, aliens on Earth more likely than real. Dyson spheres, morning in America. Okay, let's see.
This is a great story. The curiosity surrounding alien megastructures is gaining momentum. After a study was published in May, researchers used
she gorgeous though.
telescopes to look at 5 million stars with 1,000 light years from Earth. That's how far away they are. And they found 7 stars had infrared light. So what does that mean? Scientists say they can't confirm if the infrared light is evidence of these so-called alien megastructures or Dyson spheres, but they can confirm, if we can confirm they do exist, that we could, quote, do things unheard of, like interstellar travel. So who do we go to in times like this? Is NewsNation special correspondent Ross Coulthart. Ross, thank you so much for joining us. I went down a rabbit hole last night because initially I saw the word Dyson and I thought maybe I was reading about a vacuum, and then I went down a vacuum. And, you know, scientists say that the possibilities are really endless if these Dyson spheres exist, if humans can harness that technology. Well, what is it?
Yeah, I want to know.
It's a wonderful idea, Elizabeth. Firstly, good morning. About 60 plus years ago, there was a physicist called Freeman Dyson who came up with a clever idea. And it was the idea that physicists, like the rest of us, are fascinated to know, are we alone? And so the way they look for life in the universe is they look for techno-signatures. They look for signs of something technological that might indicate there's an alien civilization out there. And Freeman Dyson came up with this idea that if there's a civilization advanced enough, it's probably a Type 2 civilization that can harness the power of its star. And the way you would do that, he postulated, was by building a megastructure around that star.
If I'm not mistaken, Type 1 is something that you gotta be able to harness your entire planet. Type 2 is of other planets, like harness the energy of your solar system and planets around you, right? And a couple of years ago, this is what I heard, right? Like, it's gonna take 100 years for us, the humans, to reach type 1, and probably like 1,000 years to reach type 2. This is just an estimate. This is what we believe right now. It's probably gonna change in the future. You never even know, like, if we're gonna be around for 1,000 years. I don't know. Nobody knows, right? And type 3 is like utilizing the energy of the universe or space or something like that. I'm not sure if like, type 3, that part, I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments for sure.
Harness its energy. And theoretically, if there are such megastructures, you should be able to see the infrared radiation. And that's what they've been looking for in this new study. And they've found 7 of these weird stars with this rather unusual infrared radiation that at the moment can't be properly explained. And so one possible explanation is that it's an alien civilization using something like a megastructure to harness the energy of that star. It's actually...
Mathematically speaking, there's gotta be, like, what he's saying, there's truth to it. I was gonna say, like, this is so human thinking, not saying it's good or bad or wrong or right. I think mathematically speaking, it's right. I guess they are finding out what they assumed, and I guess their assumptions were true, but they just don't know what it is so far. Mathematically speaking, yeah, it's real. Okay, wow, shocker. But I think it's also one of those things, right? Like, we're using our human mind, because that's what we have. We're using our human mind to think that that's what's going on. But what if the aliens, these aliens, have different intentions, different motivations? Of course they have, right? And I don't think we can understand that. The same way they might not be able to understand us fully. Or maybe they're really, really advanced to the point where they can understand us fully. Yeah, who knows, right? But mathematically speaking, us being alone, there's just no chance, bro. No chance. Billions of galaxies, and in each galaxy, billions of stars. You're saying that this is the only planet we got life? I mean, mathematically speaking, there are definitely other planets that can have different life, equally or maybe even more intelligent than us. Absolutely.
Actually quite exciting. My personal opinion, Elizabeth, is that we'll probably find life far closer to Earth, perhaps even on this planet, before we find alien megastructures. But it's nonetheless wonderful whimsy, and I love the idea that physicists are as keen as we are to find out, are we alone?
Yeah, and I think that the technology keeps on getting more and more advanced, and we get these new discoveries. You said the word possible in one of the descriptions. So my question to you, as just a layman, is if we can prove there are these Dyson spheres, does that prove of existence, or could it be a natural infrared existence? Does that make sense?
This is the annoying thing about science, is there's always other explanations. And one of the other explanations is that, yes, there may be natural phenomena that can explain the reasons for this infrared radiation. And one of the best possible explanations is that it could simply be a new star, because the way our Earth was created, we were basically composed of matter that was compressed together by gravity from swirling dust particles around a sun, and it could very well be that's what we're seeing on some new star somewhere. But frankly, I love the idea that it might be an alien civilization, because theoretically there's every likelihood, there's an absolute probability that there is life out there.
And that's more interesting to talk about. Oh, I get that, absolutely.
It's not an if or a but, it's an absolute definite. Now, we know for a fact that statistically there must be advanced intelligent life out there. We are very likely not alone in this universe.
I mean,
and you know, this is the insane part. I feel like that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we would never hear the word absolute, definitely, they're walking among us, right? We're 100% not alone. yeah, right, like holy crap, like why do you think that's happening? Even if you're a believer or not believer, like that's fair if you're not a believer in other life forms. Even if you are, I feel like that some people would be saying, oh, they're getting ready for Project Bluebeam, bro, Project Bluebeam, the end is nigh, lock yourselves in the basement. I get that. It could be that as well. Why do you think like there's so much talk about it? I love it, no complaints from my part, but I'm just saying we need to question it, right? Because right now everybody's talking about it, and it's good, but I feel a little bit on the edge with when everybody's talking about it. Like, yeah, right, I don't know, man, I don't know. I guess it's probably the human mind that is looking for the negatives. Maybe it's that we're looking for negatives and we're just hyper analyzing stuff, or maybe there's an agenda behind it as well. What'd you think?
And Ross, when you say if you have a choice to believe it could be a brand new star or it could be another form of life, I mean, let's have a little fun, right? Let's just say it's another form of life and go from there. Ross Coulthart, thank you so much. I appreciate.
Thank you guys for watching. Check out this video on the screen. We've done a massive video. I think you're gonna love this one. If you have already seen it, then check out the video on the left.